Hey, what up? It's your girl Riyma, and I'm here today to share with you guys about my rape story. I was raped by 6 different of my family members. I'm just mentally fucked up, and I felt like I could help someone else that is going through what I've gone through, and one day find the strength to come out and talk about what they've been through and what they experienced. My situation started in 2005 when I was 4 years old. I remember being at my grandmother's house, and I remember sitting on the arm of the couch watching TV and doing what a kid does. My uncle coming from his back room. This is when my grandmother used to live on Hunts Point in the Bronx. He walked from his back room and he walked into the living room and he slid his body on the couch and laid on his side. All of a sudden, he opened up my legs, moved my panties to the side, and he started fingering me. And the only way I was able to remember was I felt a burning feeling. It was burning and it was hurting. That's how I was able to remember. And from that point on, I was like, what just happened? I was so confused. I was just baffled. Like, did that really just happen to me or am I tripping? But after that, he just got up and walked away as if nothing happened. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to take that? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? I felt like at that moment, I didn't feel like I mattered. I just felt like an object. And I felt like I was just there as a prop, or I was just there to just be finagled with. So that's what I didn't understand. When I was 7, between 8 years old, I used to visit my father and his kids in Prospect in the Bronx. And because his kids were separated and we all lived in different homes, he would get us together on certain weekends and we would come together and have family time. And I was always the only girl. And I didn't like being the only girl around 7, 8 boys. I just didn't like it. I didn't feel comfortable and I just felt like I was alone. I didn't have nobody that I could relate to. When it was time to go to bed, I would always have to sleep in the room with a bunch of boys. I never liked that. I always wanted to be under my dad. I always wanted to feel protected. And I didn't feel protected. I didn't feel secured. When it was always time to go to bed, I just hated going to bed. Hated going to bed. Not about the simple fact that I had to go to sleep. It was just a simple fact that I had to sleep around these other people that I didn't feel comfortable around. And my father didn't really think nothing of it. He didn't think of it as a red flag. He just felt like I was just being obnoxious and I was just begging for attention. One night, I laid on the bunk bed with the room full of boys, and I'm laying down and I'm sleeping, and I feel somebody crawling in the bed. So I just automatically wake up and I just jump up. I look and I see that it's one of my brothers. We're just gonna call him D, because that's the initial in his name. I'm like, huh? Like, what's going on? He then proceeds to lift up the bed sheet blanket and goes down on me and starts putting his mouth on my genitals. So I feel like at that point, I couldn't get up and do anything because I felt like he was going to hurt me. If I would have said that something was being done to me, I would have felt like nobody would believe me and nobody would take my side and hear from my point of view. So when that was going on, I was lost. Like, I'm just like, okay, why is this happening to me? Why does it keep happening to me? Why do they think that I am a rag doll? Why am I just somebody that you could just fuck with from time to time whenever you feel like it? He just kept going and I kept trying to push him off and he just kept going. He was just so into it, and because I felt uncomfortable and I felt like it was wrong and I wasn't enjoying it, he felt like it was okay to continue. I'm scared now. Like, I'm 7, 8. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what's being done to me. I don't know what this type of shit is. I'm still a little ass girl. I don't know no better. I don't know what sex is. I don't know what it's like to go down on anybody, for that matter. I don't know what it's like to be sexually active. I don't know what this shit is. But this shit is being put on me and is being forced on me. Now I feel like if I do come out and talk, my father gonna look at me like I'm crazy. So now I'm scared to tell him what's going on with me. And I'm thinking eventually somebody would hear something, but nobody didn't hear anything. And I'm just like, this is fucked up. Then another incident happened with one of the other brothers. We just gonna call him R because that's the initial in his name. He will always come in the middle of the night, crawl in the bed with me, and just dry hump me. I didn't understand that shit either. That was just so weird. Like, he would dry hump me. He would always make sexual noises in my ear. And he would always aggressively grab my breast and grab my genitals. I'm just like, bro, why can't y'all just leave me alone? They literally used to wait until everybody went to sleep to mess with me. Or they'll wait until nobody wasn't around to do shit to me. Or try to make it seem like we was having sex, but we wasn't having sex. Or he'll get me to touch him. I always used to go home and cry to my mother, and I used to tell her that I was always uncomfortable and how I never wanted to go back there, and how when it was time for me to go back another weekend, I always begged her for me not to go because I didn't feel protected. I was always so scared over there. I just never wanted to be over there. And I felt like nobody had my back. I felt like nobody was protecting me. I felt like I was just taking up space. I just felt like I didn't matter to anybody. I felt like for my whole entire childhood, nobody didn't like me. I just felt like because I was the only girl and there was so many boys, it's but so much attention that I can get. And I didn't have any dolls. I didn't have any of that. So I didn't understand why I was forced to be around these people that made me feel so afraid. And I always felt like I wasn't secure. Whenever my father stepped out to go somewhere, I always cried to go with him. But he always told me no. His answer to everything was always no. Oh, I couldn't go. I need to stay with my brothers. I need to do this. I need to do that. But in all reality, he didn't understand why I felt so uncomfortable. And I felt like I was going to get in trouble or get beat if I would have told him what was going on that made me feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like my side of the story would have never been heard. They'll act like they didn't do anything to make me feel uncomfortable, or they didn't do anything to hurt me. I just never liked being around a bunch of boys. It was always boys. I've always been the only girl. I just didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that I was always bullied. I didn't like the fact that I was always picked on. I didn't like the fact that every time I tried to have a father-daughter relationship with my father, somebody was always intervening and coming in between that. I just felt like I didn't have no privacy. There was no boundary set. There was no ground rules. And I just hated sleeping in a room full of boys. I have flashbacks and I think about like all the stuff that happened years ago, and I just wish that I was able to prevent these things from happening to me. And it's just like, it's too late. But please stay tuned for part 2. Make sure you please like and subscribe. And I will be going on about the other people that also raped me as well. So please make sure you stay tuned for part 2. And part 2 will be uploaded. Thank you so much for tuning in.